Yes, here we go. A very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. I'm George Grant. Welcome to today's edition of Good Day, Grenada. Today happens to be the 19th day of, where are we? July? Yeah, 19th of July. As this year continues to slip right along, eh? Certainly hope that you're feeling on top of the world today. If not, rest assured, my dear, that God's there to give you encouragement, help you to meet those challenges that you're likely to face. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. So, we're going to begin this morning, boy, oh boy. We're going to begin this morning by taking a look at the rundown. Good morning, Pedro. You guys keep changing positions, eh? Racing to see who's going to be first on there. Well, this morning, Pedro beat Benedict, Mr. Fabulous Friday. Yeah, good to see you guys. Folks, this morning, we're going to start by taking a look at an altercation which occurred at the SpiceMas office yesterday sometime. Boy, this video has gone viral. And after we show you that, yeah, we are going to show it to you. And after we show you that, we're also going to take a look at a response from the chairman or chairperson of the SpiceMas Corporation. She responded yesterday afternoon in a short video. And yeah, we're also going to show you a comment that I got from an attorney. After I heard about this thing, I was downtown running some errands, and I bumped into a well-known attorney by the name of Anselm Clouden. And I took my little pocket out and held it up, and he provided me with a comment. We're going to share that with you this morning as well. And then, of course, we do have the national report this morning, and haven't spoken with him. But I'm assuming that since we have not heard from him, he's going to be around. Mr. Brian Pitt. And I'm sure he's got some opinions about SpiceMas. Okay? So, where do we begin? An altercation occurred at the SpiceMas Corporation's office yesterday when the owner and chief executive officer of Mount Pure Water attempted to enter the office of the corporation's chief executive officer with an entourage of media practitioners. Rolanda Shirley McQueen was injured when the SpiceMas CEO attempted to shut the door to his office, resulting in McQueen's arm being squeezed and the door. The incident arose out of the SpiceMas Corporation's decision to allow Glenelg to be the sole spring water vendor at the corporation's events over the upcoming carnival season. My dear friends, sit back and take a look.
I just want to do I have to tell can I sell Monkey at the carnival? Can I sell Monkey at the carnival? If you heard using my feet. Well, sorry, you come. Can I sell Monkey at the carnival?
Hey, boss. And that's camera boss, you're the country No. You tell me this is a lady brother. This is a lady brother. Listen to me, you're supposed to break the fucking hand, man. You can't do this. Shit.
Okay, listen, the lady with the one, lady what? Step there for me, please. Nice. You can't do that.
You wouldn't help the lady brother?
Akita, just step back. Step back.
Take it.
Right.
Please. He broke my hands.
Fuck, man.
He broke my hands.
Get up.
He broke my hands.
I break your hand, man?
Yes, you have. All I'm asking you is, can we sell? Can you help me up? All I'm just coming to ask you is, can we sell Monkey? That's all I I wanted.
Too much
That's all I'm
I
asking
don't
you.
want to be on no camera, please.
All I'm asking you is, can we sell
I don't want
the
to be
product?
on no camera. Do I make myself clear?
Can you...
Have your stuff.
God, after spending well over $4 million in Grenada, is this how I'm going to be treated? Eh? After spending over $4 million in Grenada of my hard-earned money just to give my people work, that is how I'm going to be treated? What should I do? Should I sell up and leave? Should I sell up and leave? What should I do? Tell me. Should I leave? Should I leave? After spending so much money, should I leave? Have you seen that the CEO, what he did to my arm? All I wanted to say to him, can I tell the people to come to work today? That's all. Can they work? Let me just go.
Yeah. Oh, you
Kevin, you'd have to join. Just what you intend to do now and how you feeling at it?
That's right.
I'm going to go to the doctor.
Okay, so just a minute.
My hands.
Tell us what happening there and then what you intend to do.
My arms, my arms, my arms, my arms, my arms.
All right.
I just want to go to the doctor. My arms.
What did he exactly do?
He squeezed me in the door. He shut the door on my shoulder. He tried to kick me out of there. And he pushed me and threw me down on the floor. And the door, when he squeezed my hands in the door. Yes, I am going to make a report to the police. I guess as much you have it all on camera. All I want to do is job. All I want to do is to give people a job, nothing else. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want confusion. I just want to be able to tell the young people and them they've got a job. That's all I want to do.
Right?
Well, folks, I don't have to tell you that social media was just inundated. I was awake until after 2 o'clock this morning, and there were hundreds, I mean literally hundreds, of comments all over the internet pertaining to this incident. Some blamed the SpiceMas CEO for supposedly assaulting a woman, no less. Some blamed the lady and said that this whole thing was staged. And I was also happy to see that there were some people who saw a little wrong in both sides. Yeah, being objective. Now, let me now show you the response which came from the chairperson of SpiceMas, Genevieve Gibbs, yesterday afternoon.
As chairperson of the SpiceMas Corporation, it is important that I speak on 2 separate issues coming from what unfolded today with officials from Mount Pure and the SpiceMas Corporation. We have seen various video versions of a confrontation at the office of the SMC involving an official of the water company and our chief executive officer. I wish to categorically state that the board of directors and the management of the SMC do not condone or advocate any form of violence, be it deliberate or provoked. As such, we have immediately ordered a full review of what transpired and have already received a comprehensive report from the SMC staff present at the time of the disturbance. Additionally, the SMC staff would have also placed a call to the Royal Grenada Police Force, and it is our understanding that they are conducting an investigation. We are committed to having a final conclusion of this matter in short order. On the other matter of the Mount Pure water complaint, this matter would be addressed legally as an injunction has been filed. It is instructive to note that as part of the SMC mandate, we are expected to seek sponsorship for all our events. While doing that, it is imperative that we protect our sponsors and their commitment to the delivery of our carnival product. It will be a breach of our sponsorship engagement if we were to allow any brand that competes with our approved sponsors to date. Through our many engagements, we have successfully concluded contractual arrangements with a number of stakeholders and sponsors whose valuable support is key for the successful execution of our carnival product. Besides SMC organized events, there are many other opportunities available throughout the season that companies can embrace to promote their brand and sell their products. We are optimistic that SpiceMas 2019 will be one of the biggest carnivals ever, and we are excited about the opportunities for positive financial impact for vendors, small traders, local companies, and Grenada as a whole. It is important that we all work towards achieving a sustainable carnival product, a successful SpiceMas 2019, many events, one carnival. I thank you.
Now, there you have it. Thank you very much, Ms. Gibbs. I'm sure that, like me, you're looking forward to hearing the outcome of the investigation. I hope it's not, am I serious? I hope it's not going to be like all the other investigations we hear. By the way, whatever happened to the investigation into what happened on the rum runner and a million other things that have been investigated in this country? Whatever happened? It seems like, promising people an investigation is like saying, let's just sweep this under the rug. It's going to blow away in a couple of days. That's what's been happening for years now. Years. Now, I also spoke with an attorney at law, Anselm Clouden, about whether the SpiceMas Corporation was within its rights to impose such a restriction on Mount Pure. Here we go.
It appears to me that any attempt to prohibit trade, that is to say, dealings on commodities by injunctive relief acts as a restraint on trade, and that is prohibited in a free market economy. The freedom of the market interacts, buyers, sellers, demand and supply. Now, there is no patented or copyrights in the SpiceMas to prohibit the sale of commodities at their activity. That just can't be legal. And I think a court would be hesitant to grant either a prohibitory injunction or a mandatory injunction restraining that type of commercial activity.
So there goes Mr. Anselm Clouden. All right? I'm very curious to hear what Brian Pitt's going to have to say when he comes up at the bottom of the hour. Okay, so we have neglected you folks on social media for a little while. Right now, let's say good morning to Pedro, Peter Bishop, and Benedict Cador. Donna Joseph is also there with us, and Fitzroy Adams, Kipling Francis. Donna Joseph says, so we have PhoneGate, Handgate, and Watergate. You got a sense of humor, Donna. Ashton Fletcher says good morning from beautiful St. Patrick. Well, good morning to you. We have pretty good morning down here as well, Ashton. Thanks for joining us. John Bruno is saying good morning. Susan Robinson. Susan, I'm not sure what that emoji is, but thank you very much for joining us. Ria Batiste is laughing. I don't know what she's laughing at. Oh, yeah, she says, that's just talk. Oh, I guess she's talking about, the promise of an investigation. That word has become so abused nowadays. So abused. Anyway, Claude Putna says, good morning, Mr. Grant. And Fitzroy Adams says, I'm tired of hearing about investigations with no results. Yaman, I understand exactly where you're coming from. He says, I hope we will get some kind of result this time around. Well, we all hope. But let me tell you, my friend, I've been around long enough. Nah.
Mr. Watts, wait. Why are you removing my sign?
Sorry, Larry, but you can't put the sign on an electricity pole. That is an accident waiting to happen.
Mr. Watts, man, I just finished this new house. I need to put up a sign so that people would know that the apartment is for rent. Why can't I put my sign on the pole?
Larry, you should know better. Think about it. Nails, staples, glue, and signs make it difficult for linesmen to quickly and safely climb poles, and it can delay their response time when there is an emergency. These objects can prevent linesmen responding as quickly as they should in an emergency.
You know, I've never thought about those things. But you're absolutely right.
On top of that, Larry, your sign was covering the pole identification number. What if someone needed to report a fault? The pole number tells Grenlec exactly where the problem is and allows them to respond faster.
Whoa, I really didn't consider all these things, you know. Come, let me help you take this down.
Remember, be safe, be smart. No more signs, banners, or posters on electricity poles.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fair supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan.
Conveniently located in the Grandstand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenades will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
All right, couple of quick comments here. First of all, Sherry Wilson has joined us. Good morning, Sherry. Desiree Cox says, we're hoping for result, but it's not going to be swept under the rug. Hope you're right, Desiree. Peter Bishop says, the police saw a video about the incident on the Rum Runner and launched an investigation. I guess the police have not heard about PhoneGate, hence no investigation. RGPF, can you tell the Grenadian people what is the meaning of stealing? So says Pedro. Arthur Langine says, happy Friday, Brother George, and all my dear friends in his homeland and Grenada. Pilgrims, here comes the GIS.
Caribbean Examinations Council CXC tailors programs to tackle unemployment among graduates. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, July 18th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Increasing an individual's employability is the main goal of education, but sometimes educated young people still struggle to find jobs. Registrar of CXC, Mr. Glenroy Cumberbatch, spent some time in Grenada recently where he explained how CXC is tailoring its programs to better address unemployment among graduates. Details in this report by Annette Moore.
In Grenada and elsewhere in the region, many graduates find themselves frustrated by prolonged periods of unemployment, while employers express concern over employees' ability to transfer the knowledge gained in the classroom into practical skills in the workplace. But how can CXC help?
Education has many purposes, but the two main ones are social development and economic development. And somehow we seem to focus more on education for social development as a badge of honor, to say, okay, I got this, I was first in my class, I was this, I was that. But what about transferring what it is you know, transferring the knowledge and those skills into economic opportunities? It is always quite worrying when people have reached high levels of education, degrees in areas like chemistry, physics, but they're waiting for a job. How can you apply the skills that you have in creating opportunities for you and your family in things that are needed within your country? What we try to do for our Cape, for example, is to introduce things at Cape level that would help people to become entrepreneurial. So entrepreneurship is one of those things that you can study, and you study the ideas, how ideas are generated, how you can generate your ideas, what do you look for as a source for ideas, how can you convert those ideas into business opportunities.
Cumberbatch detailed several areas students can study with CXC in pursuit of entrepreneurship, or in other words, small business opportunities.
We do green engineering, where you can identify areas of how do we change our reliance on fossil fuels and look at different ways of architecture to make our buildings greener, and develop some kind of systems, whether it is using wind energy, using solar energy, using wave energy, or whatever energy is available, in order to help provide electricity in this region that has sunlight almost always.
These entrepreneurial employment opportunities outlined are sustainable while being modern, environmentally friendly, and community and economy enhancing in nature.
We offer animation and game design, where students can be creative in designing games. We have performing arts. Performing arts is one of the areas that should be closely tied to tourism. Because when tourists come to our countries, how do we maximize their spending when they come to our countries? And offering our culture to them is one way of doing it. So when you do drama, when you do film, when you do plays, when you do dance, and the performing arts syllabus, the first module of it focuses on the business of performing arts, right? So the business of performing arts is key. You teach them up front how to use their skills in order to create a business, and then you teach them the skills in film making and so on, that they can really maximize the opportunities of their business. And tourism is another one we offer at Cape, and that tourism is about creating an opportunity for you and your family through tourism. Not hospitality tourism or hotel management or anything, but developing trails, developing an activity in your neighborhood that will bring people to your neighborhood, where the people within your neighborhood then can benefit from selling drinks and doing this and doing that. When everybody then, in a sense, benefit from the tourism product that the country so badly seek after, and trying to encourage as many people to come to our country as possible, but to come to experience our culinary delights, to experience our culture, to experience things that are ours and that are performed and presented by our own people.
To disseminate all of this information, the registrar met with principals, teachers, and parents at the primary and secondary school level to inform them of all the recent developments in CXC on June 26th. One of the goals of his visit was also to facilitate improved performance among students and to inform all stakeholders of CXC's plans for the future. For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
A proud moment for 669 students who graduated from the T.A. Marisho Community College on Thursday. 4 of the students, Stephon Benjamin, Janelle Braffett, Salisha Dominique, and Alicia James, received a perfect GPA score of 4.0. They were awarded for their achievements at the institution's 30th annual graduation ceremony at the National Stadium. The more than 660 students were charged to lead, manage, and live the change for a sustainable future. That charged by Dr. Luce Longsworth, the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UE Open Campus, who delivered the feature address. Her advice to them as she urged them to live the change for a sustainable future: be confident, be optimistic, and sure of their ability to make a change or continue to improve the world that they live in.
It is very, very important, therefore, that as you go out into the world, that you develop a sense of your own personal resilience and you develop a culture of embracing change and not fearing it. You have to have a set of core, stable principles and values that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what changes you experience as you go through life, no matter what changes you have to make as you go through life, you will be able to adapt those changes.
Dr. Longsworth commended TAMCC for its inclusion of the many technical and vocational programs from which the students benefited. She says this is an indication of the futuristic thinking of TAMCC leadership. The Honorable Pamela Moses, Minister with responsibility for tertiary education, skills development, and education outreach, told the students they must rise to the occasion in the midst of all the challenges that they will face.
Graduates of 2019, your turn is coming. And when it does, I will expect you to face the moments, whether it is a window of opportunity, whether it is great challenges, emergencies, disasters, whatever they may be. You must be willing to walk down that new path with great courage, confidence, and high expectations.
A number of special awards were presented, including the first award for excellence in culinary tourism achievement, which was given to Miss Salisha Dominique. Miss Janelle Braffett from the School of Applied Arts and Technology, who delivered the valedictory address, said while this is a defining moment for them, it is only the beginning.
My charge to this graduating class is to maintain healthy relationships. Nothing is more important than that. Not your goals, not your successes, and here's why. Relationships are where we get to use our talents and resources to positively impact communities and societies, to influence others, to effect change, and most importantly, to make a difference. Your life cannot be meaningful without them.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, SpiceMas.
Coming down to Grenada.
Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fats, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and the Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest juve in the world. Caribbean jump. Followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13th. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8 to 12 for SpiceMas 2019. Many events, one carnival.
Continuing the news, Your Potential or Passion is the theme under which the 3rd Annual Services Expo opened at the Grenada Trade Center on Thursday. Minister for Trade, Industry and CARICOM Affairs, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, officially opened the expo and congratulated the Grenada Coalition of Services Industries on its strategic decision to stage yet another expo. Minister Joseph says the services sector has been recognized as a viable and significant source of foreign exchange for Grenada, as the services sector as a whole employs about 60% of the natural labor force.
Services accounts for at least 70% of the gross domestic product and allows for the creation of value-adding and knowledge-based opportunities that are aligned with our national resources and in particular our human resource and skill development.
He says the government of Grenada is committed to growing and developing the services sector and has recognized the vast opportunities in certain areas that are growing rapidly internationally.
These include professional services, creative industries, tourism, information and communication technology, health and wellness, education services.
Services specialist at the Caribbean Export Development Agency based in Barbados, Alison Francis, hopes that in the future a regional services expo can be held that will showcase what the region has to offer the world in specific sectors that will link with regional, national development objectives and export strategies.
Services is crucial to every sector and contributes the most to the GDP in the majority of the region, particularly in the OECS. For every activity that takes place, a service is involved. For manufacturing and agro-processing, you need marketing, you need advertising, you need research and development, you need transportation, you need distribution, you need ICT, you need designs for your label, your bottles, or whatever you want to distribute, to name a few. All involve services. So services is very important. Grenada has a lot to offer the region and the world in services. There is a demand for services, and as stated before, there's a close link with goods. So we need to continue to harness what is there and develop niches.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's last night's edition of the National Report. Now, couple of comments here. First of all, John Bruno was asking the question, where are we finding employment for this batch? He's referring to the 660 plus graduates. And he says it's evident this is not a priority of the government. And Peter Bishop says the unemployment line is growing. Okay, there's a note here pertaining to that piece we did on SpiceMas. John Crow Alexander says, I give props to Ms. Gibbs and SpiceMas for putting to use their teleprompter, as well as putting out that message as quickly as they did. That's in response to the incident which happened yesterday. He said, that said, they are not looking good in the video. Now, Anthony the Riggs is also chiming in from a hot Brooklyn, and you know, he is ready. He is all saddled up and ready to go. And rather than keep this gentleman waiting and, you know, going to a commercial break and all that, blah, 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 I'm going to get him on the air right away. Take a look. Notice the color this morning? Notice the color? Good morning, Mr. Pitt. How are you, sir?
Good morning, George. I'm brightening up the day.
You know, I sat here during the newscast thinking, you know, do I go to a break after the newscast and keep Pitsy waiting a little bit longer? And then I thought, nah, because George, one of these days, you're going to want to go after him for some more lambi sauce. And if you keep getting him on the air late, you're in the doghouse. So here we go, Mr. Pitt. I am happy to see you, sir. And
I'm happy to see you this morning, George. And you know, there's been a lot happening in Grenada. So why don't we just have a conversation about some of the things that you have been that you have been reporting on your website.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot happening, George.
Well, you know, this morning I was just hoping to give you carte blanche, and now you're throwing the onus on me. So, where do we start? We could start with SpiceMas.
That's an interesting place to start. I am not privy to a lot of the social media comments that's been happening about the exclusivity of products being sold during our carnival. But this is an interesting subject, George, because over the years, major sponsors have had exclusive arrangements with the Carnival Committee, whatever they're called now, for the sale of their products. If this is going to be challenged in the court, it will be very interesting to see how the Carnival Committee is able to attract major sponsors if they do not have exclusivity on the sale of their product within a certain economic space. Because I believe that's why they pay big bucks. They pay big bucks so that people will have access to their and only their product.
Did you hear the comment that Anselm Clouden made pertaining to this yesterday? Because I talked to him yesterday.
No, I did not.
Okay, would you the comment was a little less than 2 minutes long. Do you mind if I play that for you?
Sure.
Okay, listen to this.
It appears to me that any attempt to prohibit trade, that is to say, dealings between commodities by injunctive relief acts as a restraint on trade, and that is prohibited in a free market economy. The freedom of the market interacts buyers, sellers, demand and supply. Now, there is no patented or copyrights in the SpiceMas to prohibit the sale of commodities at their activity. That just can't be legal. And I think a court would be hesitant to grant either a prohibitory injunction or a mandatory injunction restraining that type of commercial activity.
Well, what do you think?
I didn't hear, George. I didn't hear.
Oh my gosh, Brian, and you didn't say anything. Oh,
no, but I was waiting to hear. But anyway, just briefly, what did he say?
Essentially, he was questioning whether or not the SMC has a leg to stand on, because apparently, I don't remember the legal term, but he was suggesting that you cannot stop people vendors from selling their goods in a free market. Essentially, that was it.
But George, if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a piece of legislation that gives the Carnival Committee exclusivity during a certain period. I think it might, I don't know what the dates are now, but it was a date in July to a date in August where, as a matter of fact, if you were going to have an event, you had to pay the committee to have an event during that period of time. Now, I am not familiar with what the Act says, but I would not agree with Mr. Clouden about this whole exclusivity thing, because if they own Queen's Park and by legislation they're allowed to do with Queen's Park what they want, and because if you are having an event, as a matter of fact, I believe the people who are using Queen's Park for events that do not coincide with the activities of the Carnival Committee has to pay a fee, and they could only have their event with the permission of the Carnival Committee. So that's going to be an interesting test case for the court. But
as far as I understand it, the SpiceMas, they have control over all their events, They can, they can say who sells and who doesn't. But something that came up on McWe Chat last night was whether or not that extends to private vendors. Like, let's say somebody vending on the side of the street. Are you going to tell them you can't sell That
I
water.
don't think so. I don't think so. Unless they own the street, let's say from Grandans to town, because don't forget that the people who vend on the side of the road in a certain economic zone pays the committee a fee to do that, huh? And it's because of that fee they get connection from GRENLEC. I believe that GRENLEC only connects them when the Carnival Committee says so. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting test case.
There's a comment here from Benedict Cador. He says it happens all over the world. Sponsors are given an area of exclusivity for their product.
Yes, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think that the Carnival Committee has the right to do that within a certain economic zone.
John Bruno says, in events such as in the stadium, are any closed space? Whelan come again, John. Whelan come again. Let's
take the stadium for example, George. If I am selling, and I don't want to, let me not pun on this. If I'm selling a particular beer, yeah, and my beer is called Good Times. Now, I can go to the Carnival Committee and says, I want Good Times to be sold at the stadium exclusively. And for that, I will give you $100,000.
Okay.
You agree? And I am agreed to sell $100,000. Now I go to the stadium and you are selling another product. I may not pay the $100,000 because if you're going to sell more products than my product, then maybe the sponsorship could be $10,000, not $100,000.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting case to see how this is resolved before Carnival.
Did you see the video yesterday?
I saw parts of the video and I found it challenging to look at because I'm sitting in my office conducting a meeting and someone comes to see me. Now, there must be an reception area. And if there isn't, then there's a problem. The reception area, so that somebody tells the secretary, I come to see Brian Pitt. Mr. Pitt is in a meeting, would you kindly have a seat? And when Mr. Pitt is finished, the secretary or the receptionist will invite you in to see Mr. Pitt. Right. So I don't know what kind of arrangement they have in their office, what the physical space looks like. But one would think that's a professional way to run an office.
Boy, let me tell you, I know you're not much of a Facebook person, but last night I stayed up way past my bedtime to read the comments, and a lot of comments have difficulty with what the woman did, but there are also those who are firm that, you shouldn't lift your hand and hit a woman. Not sexual, but female abuse. Well, I didn't see the man raise his hand to hit anybody, but I did see him try to slam the door. Mm-hmm. And then there are people...
I would imagine there's a certain amount of frustration, George, because Carnival is a huge time for consumption of product, especially water. So that everybody wants to maximize their sale during that period of Carnival. I mean, that's when Caribs sell the most product. That's when a lot of people sell the most product. This is peak time. So everybody wants to be able to have access to the crowd. But I guess to have access to the crowd, how I look at it, you got to pay to have that access.
There are also comments on Facebook about why the entourage of media was this thing set up.
Well, I would not be surprised if it was. But don't forget, we all have cell phones that record these days, Joe. So I mean, by the time we walk into a situation, our phone is on record.
Yeah. Margaret says, agree with John Bruno on enclosed space restrictions, but I don't see how SMC can dictate to a private person selling on the street, even if the person has a license from SMC, what he or she can or cannot sell, as long as it is a legal product. See you.
I really don't know what the legislation says, John, but I know there is some kind of legislation. Because in order to get a license to vend, it might be from, let's say, Butler House to Queen's Park, you have to get permission from the SMC. And it's because of that permission or letter that you get from them that GRENLEC will hook you up to electricity. So what are the conditions of that license? I have no idea. But I would imagine that would be a good place to start in this discussion.
Go ahead,
George.
Go ahead.
While we're on this carnival thing, George, there's another major concern that I have about what will happen on the road carnival Monday and Tuesday. Now, if I'm not mistaken, people are driven by music, George. Music can bring out the worst of us, it can bring out the best of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And from what I recall, music can change the mood of people. Yeah?
Yep.
So if a soca calypso is rude and talks about whining proficiently, then people will whine.
Yep.
I saw a video recently of St. Lucia Carnival. And there was this song in St. Lucia Carnival called, I think it's Bottom in the Road. And George, there were young women standing up on what looks like a fence, like a wall, with a bottom to the road and nothing on. Absolutely, the bottoms are exposed, George. So nudity could be a real problem come this carnival, and I don't know whether or not the authorities are ready to deal with the nudity that might take place. Now, a lot of the soca calypsos I am hearing are encouraging nudity. George.
Brian, I don't think the authorities will ever be ready. I am sick to hear of hearing all the rhetoric. They know they're pointing out the filth that's out there, and they're doing diddly squat about it.
Well, you have to start at the beginning. A good soca song, George, is only good if it gets people to follow its instructions.
Yeah.
And let's go back to Super Blue when he says move to the right, move to the left. People move to the right and they move to the left. If a soca song tells you to expose your bottom, you will do that.
Yeah.
If it tells you bend them over and put up your leg, you will do that.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to what we allow to be played on the radio.
Yeah.
And play on the road. But I don't know that we have too much control over that. But it's a problem, and I don't know how we're going to solve that problem, George, but there will be a reasonable amount of nudity, I suspect, in Carnival, based on what I'm hearing, what the soca songs I'm hearing, and based on what happened in St. Lucia's.
What all this does, Brian, is highlight the disregard we have for our Constitution. Just when you talk about the Constitution, you don't have to go past the preamble. Just read the preamble, and then you see all of this happening, and you say, what hypocrisy. Brian.
We have to understand the power of music first.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful language.
And the people who produce music, they understand it damn well.
Okay, yeah.
Brian, so we talked about Mount Pure. Now, I don't know if you've been following the escapades of our Prime Minister in Montreal last Friday, claiming that politicians cannot prevent civil servants from doing their work. And I thought, I had to drop this one on Mr. Pitt on Friday morning.
George, I must commend Sandra for this. Have you seen the piece that she's put together?
It's published on my website.
Let me tell you something. Anybody have any doubts about what the Prime Minister said in Montreal? Laying blame on the public services or public officers should read that piece, because there is evidence that what he's saying is not true. But you know what came to my mind very quickly when I heard that statement, George? There was an incident where on the building of Sandals, I believe it was, a shipment arrived on the port, and a health officer held up that shipment on the port. It was a shipment of earth, flowers, or whatever it was, and decided that it should be quarantined because he suspected that some animals or might have been in this thing that would cause us harm.
Yeah.
And that guy was shipped to Carriacou, I believe, because he held up that shipment. So it is evident that our dear Prime Minister used the occasion in Montreal, where people would not be familiar to some of his deeds, to make that pronouncement. It's interesting. But you know what's even more interesting, George, about this phone gate thing? We have not heard from Digicel. Have you heard from Digicel?
No, I have not heard from Digicel, but apparently they did issue a statement because in one of the regional online papers, I understand that they said that they're essentially looking into it.
Well, let me tell you something. Don't forget that all the lines that have been run in Grenada now that is good from wherever they're from, is Digicel. Digicel has a major contract with the government of Grenada to supply internet service. So I doubt very much if you're going to hear too much objection from Digicel. As a matter of fact, I suspect over time we're going to all forget about this thing because somebody will pay or not pay. What I think we might be asking for at this point in time is a transparent conclusion to this arrangement. What happened? Who pays? Did Digicel underwrite the debt? Because I suspect over time this will just go over.
Well, like I said just a few minutes ago, I don't know if you were on already listening, but I suggested that, when we're promised investigations, I don't hold my breath because we've been hearing about investigations ad infinitum, and we never hear about the outcome of these investigations.
Well, I mean, George, I think last week we talked about the investigation into steel pan, and
investigation what?
Into steel ban.
Exactly.
And Mr. Doe is still traveling.
Yeah.
That whole investigation conversation is for the rank and file. And it's for the rank and file to defend us so that the people who are strong believers will say in a discussion, listen, we're investigating this matter, man. Don't worry that. It will be looked after. That's for the rank and file. And you see, we have created over time, George, a society that is almost totally dependent on us giving them a plate of food. Should I explain, George? This is a plate of food. This government has created this dependence. The majority of people in Grenada are dependent.
Yeah.
Whether it be to clean the road or put some coal mix on the road or cut the bush or whatever, or school bags or whatever. They're dependent. And they depend on us to eat our food. So they will swallow almost anything that we tell them. Because if you want to read that Sandra Ferguson's piece and not come away with the idea that, hey, we have been down this road before, we've seen the movie before, what are you talking about? Then they are believers or enablers, George.
That's why, last night I said on MECWE Chat, there's a point I have reached where I just don't even try to explain things anymore because there are certain people who, you could talk from now to eternity. If they don't want to believe what you're saying, they won't. They won't. By the way, there's a comment here on Facebook from Margaret. She says, I don't see why Digicel is a factor in this. The government and public workers have failed in the responsibility to mind the people's business. End of story.
Well, if you and I, George, run up a telephone bill that is 2 months in arrears, they disconnect us.
Amen.
I suspect that now let's go back in history. Digicel got a major contract to supply government services to government from Flow. I think Flow had this contract. And Digicel may have underbid Flow or whatever, but they ended up with the contract. I don't believe that Digicel will do anything to disturb that arrangement they have with the government. Too much money involved.
Yeah, big bucks.
As a matter of fact, somebody might lose their job at Digicel for letting this information out. Because rumor has it that somebody just walked in to the office and got this information.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of rumors everywhere, but it's interesting to see it will be interesting to see what the investigation reveals. Because I simply have no hope.
George, I've been giving some thought to the idea that is internationally accepted, that corruption is a major cause of failed states,
yes,
of countries getting into uncontrolled debt. Why can't we do anything about curbing corruption? Is it that we don't have the political will to do it? Or is it that, the NDC served 2 one-terms in Grenada and may have lost the subsequent elections because they did not govern like the NNP. Could that be true?
It could be, but is that good or bad?
Anybody taking over Grenada now, they're going to have to govern Grenada like this government governs Grenada.
If they want to remain in office.
If they want to remain in office. If they don't, they wouldn't serve more than 1 term.
Exactly.
This is institutionalized.
Yeah.
And you have to find a way to work within a corrupt state. I want to briefly comment just before I go, George, on Jimmy Bristol and his judgment.
Yeah, man.
That is a major judgment, but Jimmy mentioned the Gary case. The Gary case went to the Privy Council, and that is where judgment number 16 came from. I remember that number because of the frustration people have had over the years in getting money out of government. I don't know that this is the end of the road for this matter. It would throw light on the matter that government has an obligation to meet its debt once there's a judgment against it. I don't know that it's going to stop government from going to court on matters that they know they will lose because the individual ministers do not have to pay. We still back. If let's just say Jimmy wins, and somebody may have acquired some land in Sauteurs willfully. They know that they shouldn't do it, and they did not pay that person. The consequence, the financial burden is not on the individual minister, it's on the state. So even though Jimmy and them win all the way to the Supreme Court, all the way to the Privy Council, the state still pays.
Yeah. He said that it's likely to go to the Privy Council, but something that concerns me is that if the government overcomes this one, it simply gives the public another reason to just increase their ire, their wrath against government.
I don't see the government overcoming this one, George, because I said the Privy Council already ruled on this matter. Derek Knight came back to Grenada with a judgment and advertised the minister's property in the newspaper for sale. How many of us remember that?
Yeah, well, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Boy, Derek had an ad in the newspaper to sell the Minister of Finance's property. And soon after that, Gary's estate was settled.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pitt. Thank you, Mr. Pitt. And by the way, when he talks about Jimmy, what he's talking about is a piece that Jimmy Bristol did with us here on Monday morning. And for those of you who may have missed it, it's going to be rebroadcast on Sunday on this weekend's edition of Sundays with George Grant. Mr.
Fantastic.
Pitt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, George. Have a great weekend.
You too. Mr. Brian Pitt there. Always a treat. Alrighty, folks, let's see here now. Half a minute before 10 o'clock. Let me take one final break here, and then we're going to come on back and wrap it up.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
Easy living should be convenient. With GRENADAB, it is. Dial 237 for any GRENADAB department or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your GRENADAB access number handy. Dial 237 for GRENADAB. It's that easy. GRENADAB, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Folks, you know by now that we're never, ever going to leave you without a parting word from the Holy Scriptures, our daily inspirational, if you will. This morning's reading comes to you from the book of Romans, chapter 12, 17 to 21. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, "It is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord." On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans chapter 12, 17 to 21. Okay, my dear friends, on that note, Georgie Poetry is going to wish you and yours a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much for keeping me company during the course of this week. I do pray God's blessings on you. By His grace, let's get together again Sunday morning.